Welcome to DT Madness Chronicles from the Third Life, episode 119, January 12th, 2025. So glad you could make it. Well, all right. Happy wintry January to you. A couple weeks away from me turning 47. And yeah, 4:45. That's the time. So these are the things that I'm wrestling with, and we're talking about in the AM. 4:45 a.m. is when the CrossFit club, kind of led by my friend and colleague that I teach with right beside. Our rooms are right beside each other. Aaron McWhirter Bryant. Um, they get together at the Y every morning, Monday through Thursday, and do their thing. People older than me, younger than me, definitely in better shape than me at this point. 4:45. I thought about it because I've been waking up about that time anyway. Sometimes earlier. Sometimes I'm up at 4 a.m. and come back in to sit in the nook here. Um, Trying out the Beyond Brew. I don't think that's the answer. Drink green tea and ginger, doing my morning stretch routine, morning prayer stretch routine, listening to the ambient sounds of Native American flute music most often, although I've been getting into this new piano mix lately. And I'm up anyway. I'm up anyway. And so if I'm going to be up anyway, then why not head on over and be a part of this community of folks who are doing right by their bodies, right? By their bodies, is it right? 4:45. But there's a bunch of stuff to consider, and I'm still in that process of that consideration and that pondering. Like, should I, should I drink coffee at 4:20 before I go? Should I grab a cup so that I've got a little bit of perkiness going into doing box jumps or whatever types of things that these people are going to be asking of me? If and even then, like, what about when I get to school? Because I'd go straight from the Y to school. That would be the plan. It'd be too much of a hassle, I think, to come back home. I'd be back home still before everybody wakes up, and I don't want to be the people. I don't want to be the guy waking people up. Our floors are creaky. Our house is small. You can't really get away from the noise, and at least for me and Sid, we hear the noises. So I'd go to the Y from school. So I would need to take my Ninja coffee maker or get maybe a new one, a different one, but probably take this good one to school so that I could have a good cup there. Um, Either way, like whether I drink before or not. If I do drink a cup of coffee before, like if I am gonna have a cup of coffee at 4:20 and maybe just kind of take it with me as I get over there by 4:45, then when I gonna do my toothbrushing routine? With my gum detoxify and my daily morning floss routine and my Listerine swish. I don't really want to do that. I'm definitely not going to do it at school in the normal bathroom. That's gross. There's a teacher bathroom that maybe I could get away with that, I guess I could just do it at the Y after I took the shower there, because that's another component, is that if I am going to go and do this, whatever it is, I'm calling it CrossFit. It's all made up by Erin, who is in super shape. She's about 10 years younger, maybe not quite 10 years younger than I am. So I'm gonna have to take my shower stuff when I've got it. Like, I've done this before. I've been to the Y before and taken my showers there. Like, I've got my shower shoes. I see them right here. They're right here. I could take my bag of stuff. I could have everything ready. That's not a big deal. The showers at the Y are fine. There's this squeeze soap that comes out, and I would take my Noxzema and my special shampoos, my special lotions. There's a feeling that comes along with that. I enjoy it. How will my towels and my sweaty clothes dry? I wish that Y had towels, but they don't. So I'd have to take my own and pack it up or leave it in the locker, I guess. Um, but if it's stashed in the bag, is it going to get nasty? If I leave it in my car, is my car going to smell nasty? I guess I could take it in, maybe set it outside the window of my classroom, let it air dry out. I could claim a locker again. I took a lock over there, the last foray into this early morning wildlife. That didn't last too long though, because I was so tired. And so, like, I don't know what I think is different. With all of that being said, I mean, they start at 4:45 and typically are done by 5:45 at the latest. Erin says she's done a little bit before that, and so I'd have time to cool down a little bit before I took the shower, head on to school, still get there by 6, maybe 6:15, which is still plenty of time to do all the things that I've been doing, the things that I enjoy, getting there, being there. Really, the first one. Some of the custodians are there. Mr. Hamrick, the electronics teacher, is there, usually 10 or 20 minutes after I am. And I've been walking laps. Like, I've been walking laps, so I could continue to do that. I've been walking about a mile around the school each morning before. So there are options here. I've got fourth period planning. Once it warms up, I got to go walk on the track at school. And walking is fine. Walking would get me in good shape. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I'd have to take my neck traction thing that I got from Dr. Ernst, the chiropractor, that I'm sold on. If you are a regular listener, then you may know that that's the thing I dropped on my toe in Nashville a year or so ago, where I was bleeding out walking down the street. But I would want to take that to school and have that for after the shower, because I do that every morning. I think it opens up my nasal passages and such. It really does. It really does. I'd have to consider clothes, okay? And so, like, I've thought about it a couple of different ways. I could just take clothes to the Y, obviously, and then change into the school clothes after after the Y shower. That would be a thing I could do. Or I could just take, like, some other sweatpants types things to put on after the shower, and then not have to worry too much about it. But in that case, I would take, the khakis and whatever it is that I'm wearing to school. I'd take them to school. Like, I would take them over there today. I would take them over there today and hang them in my little closet that I have. And then I could just change there. I'm not really sure what the benefit to that would be. So I'll probably just take them to the Y as I consider that out loud, which is maybe, I appreciate you. I'm using you. I did use uh, the new coffee maker already, but it wasn't very good. And so I came back to the old one, which is why I believe I would definitely have to take the Ninja to school. Forgive me while I swish. This is Colombia Antigua. It's good. It has rich flavors of fig, raisin, orange, and cocoa. I like it. Went for a little change from the Nicaragua. So, I'm thinking about all that kind of stuff. And what about when tennis starts? Tennis starts February 12th. That's a month from today, and so am I going to be up at 5:45 doing a significant workout and then practice tennis until 5:30, and on match days, home by 8, sometimes 9. Maybe that's going to be too much. And I mean, really, like, the real question is, am I gonna hurt myself? Am I gonna injure myself? I'm in decent cardio shape. My upper body strength is not like awful, but I hardly ever do stuff with my legs and my core, and I'm a little bit scared. Um, I'm wavering. I am. I'm wavering. Like, I was all in, but now I'm wavering. But I will say that it is a waver, like it is back and forth. Only time will tell, I suppose, and just got to find me a. What I had written here was, and whether this new single serve makes a good cup, but it doesn't. It's not a good cup tonight, Dale. If y'all have watched radio. But what's this all about, DT? It's a new madness. It's a new madness. Um, Maybe think about it like Jim Morrison in The Doors, where I am anxious and like chomping at the bit to really break on through to the other side. If you've listened to the last couple of weeks, like, you may have heard that I've talked about it in terms of being in a chrysalis, and maybe in terms of being stuck or whatever, but more like this forming up, and it's time to really bust through, though, to break on through. I saw this quote the other day on Instagram, and I don't know who Duncan Trussell is, and I tried to look him up a little bit, saw that he was on Joe Rogan podcast, and so I make my assumptions there. You can too. But I didn't really get into it too much because I don't really care who he is, because the quote that I read was really fantastic. And it says, "Some poor phoneless fool is probably sitting next to a waterfall somewhere, totally unaware of how angry and scared he's supposed to be." Yeah. And so that has ignited this mm, dormant flame. How far can I carry that metaphor inside me? And so I deleted, Instagram and Facebook. I know I do that often, um, but they're off my screen, so I don't. I'll have to go through the whole process to get them back. I know it's not overly difficult, but for now, that's what I'm doing. And I noticed this thing, like, we just had a winter storm come through, and there are people on Facebook who will make predictions, and everybody will make predictions, and I can follow along with the weather, and, like, I'm really hoping, that it was a big snow. I love it. I love to see it. My mom loves it. My daughter loves it. I want to see the beautiful scenery. I do. I really love it. It's majestic, especially when it doesn't happen very often, and it hasn't happened for years here in North Carolina, not our area. And so I grow hopeful, and I grow hopeful, and I see these forecasts. But what I found, because I deliberately stopped looking, like, I deliberately stopped checking to see what the forecasts were hour by hour, and seeing what was going to happen, and looking at the radar and all that kind of, and I just surrendered to the flow. Like, I thought about, like, what was it like for people when they didn't even have weather forecasting? It either is or it isn't. You know, Either the warm nose is going to creep in and cause all of it to turn to rain and sleet, or the moisture isn't going to build in, or it is. And I can't have any control over it, whether or not I think I can, with knowledge of a forecast. I'm not discounting weather forecasting. I'm talking about my own need for control. And so I got off I got off the Facebook and the Instagram. We'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. I deleted the Drudge Report. That was a common app that I would use to gather my news. And I understand the slants of the headlines from Drudge. I understand that. But it's a good starter for me. It has been for many years. But I don't watch CNN or Fox or MSNBC, and I don't read that stuff. And honestly, for people who are posting political type things, and this is me, I'm the AP government teacher, I'm the mayor. I don't, I've got a, I've got a sticker up in my room that says mass media breeds ignorance. And I think that's real. But I've found a freedom, like a breath, not listening to the constant hype. It's not surrender, but it's, yeah, I don't know. It may be an offensive move, honestly. I'm not giving you your ratings. I'm not taking part in this circus. So there's this new madness, this new desire to find something else. Like this, I'm a routine guy. I'm a routine guy, but this routine, it's some things have got to change, man. Like it's got to give. In part, and it's a celebration for me, like in part because I have found this new taste of freedom, this new desire for life and all of it. And it'd probably be good for me to go back and sit with my person at Living Lotus and talk about that aspect of healing from trauma, from from childhood trauma, like to these feelings that I've harbored for decades that are now not shackles for me anymore. And there's a wanting sometimes to be angry for those other 4 decades where I was bearing those chains. But I'm not stuck there. I'm not, but I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go. You know, what does that mean? Like part of it is fitness. It is like part of it is a thing that I can see is really getting fit. I'm 40, I'm almost 47. I will have had 47 years moving into my 48th year, almost half a century. And so I want to see if I can capture those good feels that people say happen when, Erin says you feel so much better. She's got that drive, she's got that energy for sure. And what form will that take? Will it be 4:45? Will it be tomorrow? I don't know. I'm wavering. But some type of commitment, some type of disciplined action where I begin to see real change, benefits. Because I'm not overly out of shape, but I could be in better, you know. Rediscovering, and these are not new things I've talked about the last couple of weeks, but my passion, my desire for teaching. I've got 4 preps right now. I do. It takes a lot of energy. I have AP psychology, which I love, and there's only 18 students in there, and it's a beautiful thing. And our exam is later this year. It's not till May 16th, and so we've got plenty of time. And we made Play-Doh brains and Play-Doh neurons, and I told them the stories, where we scream at each other, and it's a good class. And I've got AP Government and AP Seminar, which are continuations from last semester because they're what we call skinny periods. And it's time to move into the second performance task for Seminar and wrap up the first one. And Government's into review mode, and trying to corral 45 people is a crazy task. And then my third period class is 29 civic students over a lunch period. And it's a lot of different folks, man. A lot of different abilities. and it takes energy. It does. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Mayoring, I feel like I do a pretty good job there, but what are new ways that I can be a better mayor? You know, these are things I want to focus on. This new madness. And part of that will require being on Facebook, and I know that. I knew that. Whether that's once a month or whatever, I kept Messenger. People from the town reach out to me that way. That's fine. Um, but updates, and hopefully soon we're going to really have some. We've gotten millions of dollars in grant money now, and we've put it into contract form. Things are moving, but they don't move fast. I I would love to find some other hobbies. I really think about getting into cooking. And, on days when, I don't know, that'll be trickier when tennis starts for sure. My schedule will be a little bit different, but maybe I could just start on the weekends. What are some new things that I could cook? Can I learn how to do those types of things where the flavors complement each other and all that kind of stuff? And getting back into gardening, when the spring comes around, which won't be long, and incorporating that kind of stuff. I can do that. I've done that stuff before. I wish I had other practical skills. I do. I wish I could do woodworking. I wish I could do lathe turning or whatever it is. I wish I could do things that my dad was so good at and he spent so much time on. I understand. Understand. Maybe just now. Why he poured his energy into that. Well, this is kind of revelatory. I'm looking at my lava lamp while having these revelations of understanding. So we'll see. Maybe I'll just pursue new occupational pathways. I talked about healthcare field. I talked to Miss Jackson, our nursing teacher at school. She laughed at me because I told her that I was afraid of going to the doctor. She said I was a lot like Mr. Harris, which I am. But I want to try to tackle that by working in that field, by studying in that field. But I think with Jimmy Buffett, my occupational hazard is that my occupation's just not around. So anyway, it's exploratory, I guess. The hobbies and I'm going to be reading for sure. Um, I will say this though, as we move into the end for today, the online company that I use for my logo, DT Madness Chronicles, from the Third Life logo with the cool blues and greens and oranges, and it's got the sequoia cone on there. Um, that's Brand Crowd, and I canceled my subscription. It was due to renew in April. And so that's kind of the first step. And the next step is seeing if I can download my episodes onto my Mac here so that if my Podbean account, which is the account I use to record these, if I go ahead, which is the plan, to not renew the Podbean account, then I can still have access to the episodes. Either way, I think I can figure it out. But either way, this iteration of madness, this podcast madness, is drawing to its close. I'm reading this book, man. I read the Malazan Empire series by Steven Erickson. It was 10 books. My friend Matt Worth, he loves it and got me into it. And I read it down at the river, I think during the lockdown phase. And I'm reading this new one called The God Is Not Willing. And there's this quote that says, "And now he was full of words, full of thoughts that had nowhere to go. He imagined that this was what it meant to be lonely, an entire inner world with no way out, no audience or witnesses. If there was beauty in there, none could see it. If there was torment, no one could hear the cries for help. And it's a little bit dramatic for me to drop on here at the close of the podcast, but I do have these things. I have these thoughts. I have things I want to say. I want you to hear. And so we'll see what the next iteration is, but maybe I'll get more creative with my content on Facebook or Instagram, and then I will use those platforms as ways to communicate wider truths or wider thoughts, I should really just say. Or maybe I'll just use it to expand my reach as mayor, my highlighting areas of the town, things like that. Maybe I'll write, really write. I thought about getting into scrapbooking, lol. But seriously, some art form that captures the beauty of this life I get to live with pictures and words and quotes and my own writing and um, some form that captures the beauty this life I get to live while transmitting that sentiment onward to my people and whoever else. I'm in until March. Like I think my Podbean account goes until March, and so I could pop up with an update on CrossFit DT or whatever this madness is that I'm potentially embarking on in a few hours. But thank you for thank you for listening. Thank you for remember this sound. That was when we did a little halftime sandwich. Early days of the podcast. Recently, it's been my wrestling, my tea time with Mara, and of course the swingy jazz that opens and closes it all. Thank you for allowing me to rant and ramble and reflect. This has been 119 episodes. This has been an integral part on my journey through the lands of healing and wholeness. Some of you have been encouraging partners along the way, and many more of you just settled in to listen once in a while. And I am grateful. I truly, truly am grateful. So until we meet again, I hope that you continue to make your ripples in the bucket of life, that you become more and more aware of what your thoughts and actions, what your contributions are to the ripples of this life. I hope that you find the ropes of relationship that will pull you up when you cannot get up yourself, when you have never been able to get up on your own strength, but somebody throws you a rope and pulls you up off that couch, out of that dungeon. I hope that you will gaze at your wall of belief with inspirational quotes and beautiful scenes and reminders that you are. And that's it. You are. You exist. And I hope that you believe more and more in you. That you remember that this too shall pass when you hold your token of hope. And whatever difficult season you may be traveling through, that this too shall pass. Your magic rock, times one received and one given. One received, uh, remember, Sam was able to get the magic rock from one of his elementary school students who he built up, who he saw, he recognized, even when the other kids were being kids. And he gave life to that young person and to the magic rock that I was able to hold in my Living Lotus sessions and which I released and felt the sensory motor action of releasing some of the burdens that I was carrying. And I was able to give that rock back to the therapist at Living Lotus so that she could give it and allow someone else to use it. Magic rock, one received and one given. And of course, Thomas the Terrapin, I hope you got your people. I know you got your people. If it's one more, if it's 10 more, whatever, recognize, relish. You are the Church of Six to me. And as I say at the beginning, I'm so glad you could make it. You came along with a raft and a song, and I'm so glad you could make it. The Church of Six is my five plus you. And that it isn't limiting. And so this podcast has been a Church of Six production. And I thank you. Don't forget that nothing divine is desperate. And in order to be, try to never seem. Our state motto says, Esse quam videri. May all your circumstances serve to awaken compassion, and as you go, teach peace. Don't forget to believe, y'all, and be live. Grace and peace, my friends.